What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Mama B herself today, Shauna Bannon, before her big fight coming up at UFC London, March 22nd against Puja Tomar. Shauna, how are you? It's a bit busy time. We're about a month out now, running and racing around the place, getting ready. How are things?
It's go, 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 but it's good because I like that. When I slow down, I'm like, what else can be happening? So I like being go, go, go. So, yeah, we're like 6 weeks out, 6 weeks Saturday. So, yeah, it's exciting. I'm dying to get back in there. And, yeah, it feels like ages. So I'm really looking forward to it.
We'll get into the fight stuff in a second, but more importantly, your little boy Jay started kickboxing yesterday, and you put it up on your Instagram. What was that like? Tell us about that experience.
Oh, do you know what? I was real emotional because I was like that's where it started for me. Do you know what I mean? And like, look what it's led to. So I was like, obviously thinking all of that in the back of my head, but like, look, I put him in it as well, probably about a year ago, and he was too young. Like, it was just before his third birthday,
yeah. And
I'd done the same with jiu-jitsu, and he was too young. I was like, right, I'm being a pushy parent. I need to just relax. So he's been doing like swimming lessons consistently, and then in and out of a few bits like gymnastics and stuff like that. But yesterday, I was like, I don't know, it just felt different when I was bringing him. I felt like actually like he might stick at it. And I didn't go in. I just waited outside and watched on the cameras because I was like, I'm just going to take a step back and let my dad deal with it, because I think if there's too much of us involved in it, it might be like a lot of pressure for him. Like right now, he doesn't even really understand that I'm in the UFC and I'm a professional athlete. Do you know what I mean? So, but as it goes on, he'll obviously get that. And I don't want to put too much pressure on him because my dad never put pressure on me. So I want to kind of keep it like that. But yeah, I was definitely emotional yesterday, and he was great. Like 25 minutes consistent with no.
Brilliant.
And then he started doing cartwheels after that. But it was fine because it's only a 45-minute class. So if we can progress on the 25 minutes every week, we'll be doing good.
Did remind yourself, because if people don't know, like your dad is a kind of karate kickboxing instructor, isn't he? And he's been doing it for years. You I assume you started with him as well. It was a kind of a reminder of like, I remember the day I started, and this is it. Here we go again, type of thing.
Do you know what? Like, I don't even ever remember my first class because I kind of done it at home, and I was always in and out of the gym as well, even before I officially started. So there's not a memory in my brain of my first class. And obviously I was 3, so it was a long time ago as well. But yeah, it's a nice experience. And I think it's so nice that my dad is teaching as well. So it's his gym. He opened that the year I was born, Tala Martial Arts in Tala. And then it's like progressed to be the best gym in Ireland now, like multiple world and European champions out of that gym. So it's a close place in my heart. And I still train there all the time as well. Like they're actually moving to a different location in March, and I'm like devastated. I'm like, oh, like it's where it was my full-time gym the way I'm going on, but like it'll be like a little end to a chapter in an era, because that gym, like, so much happened in that, you know. And Jason's first class was there and whatever, but like it's not my choice, obviously. Yeah. But they are moving, so I'm raging.
How, like, the family look, from your nickname to everything, every time you do an interview and stuff, you mentioned your son. And I saw your sister was competing obviously last summer, and is very, very high level too in her world. Family, like, it's quite obvious to anyone who looks at anything you do that it's a massive thing for you. Is that kind of your motivation? Is that what drives you every day to not just train but fight and all parts of it?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think that everything happens for a reason. Like, when I fell pregnant, it was unplanned, and like I thought my career was going to be over, but like little did I know it's given me like a whole new drive. Like, I can't imagine doing this journey without him being there. It's like, it's so special. And even like after every fight, I get to go home, win, lose or draw, I still have my baby there. Do you know what I mean? And having him as part of that journey is really special. And I think it happened at the right time. Like, it was during lockdown, there was nothing even going on, and then now I have Jace to be there as part of that. Like, I always had my dad and my sister on my kickboxing journey, and then now it's like he's just part of that, and it's an amazing thing. Like, do you know, like, I think a family of fighters, like, they understand what's going on. Do you know, they understand the weight cuts, they understand the pressure, the stress, the good, the bad, the indifferent. They understand it all. So it's really nice to have that there and be so close to them as well.
How how interesting was it for you as well? Because usually, like, if someone gets to the UFC, they're the only person in their family, and everyone else has to watch on from the outside. But you were watching your sister, obviously competing at a high level, and we've heard you on commentary on Irish MMA before. You can get very passionate. To put it mildly, what was it like standing there in the arena watching your sister, or just watching her compete at a level? It must be crazy for someone who does it yourself to be watching someone so close to you. It must be how is it for you? Is it good? Is it bad? Are you just so nervous? What way do you feel?
Stressful. It's stressful, but like I love it. Like, you know, like if someone means something to me and they're fighting, you'll know, because I just go crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's like I can't control myself. I don't know what gets over me. Like that video of me at the European Olympic Games, I nearly got kicked out of the stadium because I wasn't allowed coach her, because like obviously she had her own coaches, and like I've stepped back away from kickboxing, so I wasn't in her corner, but like I wanted to be in her corner. And it's like I know how much it meant to her and how much it meant to me, even for her winning. So yeah, it's a stressful situation. Sometimes it's like I feel like I'd nearly rather fight myself. I don't know if it's more stressful, and I don't know what it'll be like when it's Jason there, because that's a whole different story altogether. Like I remember thinking, like when I had Jace, I was like, how does my dad do that? Like my dad is the calmest person in the world. And me and Nicole, he's cornered us for years and years. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd actually be able to do that in a calm manner. Like, I don't think I'd be calm. And I remember growing up in kickboxing and being like, some of the parents were crazy. And I'm like, am I going to be that crazy parent now as well? Turn the table to front, and now I'm like, I totally understand you now.
It's funny because like even in the UFC these days, you see like some people and they have their parents, and you know I saw a debate about it recently about like, do they give actually the best advice? Sometimes maybe they are overheated and they but it's an interesting one. Do you think your sister will ever come over and do a bit of MMA?
Don't know, she done, before she went to Australia, she done the before beginners course in Paddy's gym. So she like passed that, got her certificate and stuff, but then she moved to Australia soon after and then came back to train for the European Olympic Games. So she's not really had kind of a chance, I suppose. And then no, she hasn't. Like I think her boyfriend kept doing jiu-jitsu for a little while when he went to Australia, but then he stopped. So yeah, I don't know. And like I think she'd be so good at it. I'd love for her to do it, because it'd be a training partner for me. But yeah, I don't know if it's for her. I think she loves the kickboxing.
You mentioned Paddy and training partners, and those are the next two things I would ask you, because like, you know, you spoke a lot about family there, and when I think about Paddy Hoolan, I think about his gym and the way he acts on it, it feels like a family, the way he does it. Did you try out other gyms? Did you go other places? Was it always Paddy for you? It feels like the perfect fit.
Yeah, no, I went years ago to a jiu-jitsu class, like in East Coast Jiu-Jitsu, because it was beside where I worked at the time. And I think I'd done 2 classes there, and it was gi, and I was just like, oh, no. Yeah. And then I switched from kickboxing to taekwondo, because I always wanted to go to the Olympics, and they kept saying kickboxing will be in the next one, it'll be in the next one, it'll be in the next one. And I was like, I'm getting old. Like am I gonna really hang out here and hope for the best? Because like you don't get paid in kickboxing, do you know what I mean? You might win a couple of hundred for a tournament if you win the grand champion or whatever, but like it's not, you can't live off it, you know? Yeah. And I was kind of like coming to terms with the fact that I was like, I have a talent, and like, where am I going with this, you know? So I was like, maybe if I switch over to taekwondo. So I done that for like a year and a half, but there was just no fire in my belly for it. Like it was grand, and I was competing loads, and I went to Korea, I done the Worlds, the Europeans, and I was competing like international, like nearly straight away, but I just didn't love it. And then when I found MMA in Paddy's gym, I was just like, this is it, like this is the one. Like, and I was like, tell me more. Like it was actually ridiculous. Like I used to take half days from work to make sure that I could do the 6:30 class, the 12 o'clock class, and the evening classes, because I was just obsessed and I wanted to learn so fast. So I think it's different when you love something that much. Like I thought I loved kickboxing, and then when I found MMA, because there's so much to it. Like there's the judo, the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, the striking obviously is slightly different to the striking I done. So there was so much to learn, and I was just like, wow, tell me all of this, teach me it all.
And for Paddy's obviously a great teacher, and someone who you know, is kind of, you know, what is 125 pounder as well, so not that much bigger, so it's a good body to be in there with, but was really good at jiu-jitsu as well as, I suppose, the kickboxing side. How big has he been as, I suppose, as the, you know, the coaching figure for you over the last, you know, what is it, 5 or 6 years now at this stage?
Yeah, he's more than a coach, he's a mentor for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's guided me throughout my whole career, and he hasn't pointed me in the wrong direction so far. Like, I think so many people like kind of take whatever route everyone in their gym is doing, or but like when I decided I was going pro and this was what I was going to do, like, Paddy had a plan for me, and he didn't care about what he was benefiting from it. It was all to do with me. And obviously I had Jace then before I went pro, so he was very aware because he had turning at a young age. So it was like he had the same situation but different. Do you know what I mean? When he was starting off in his pro career, and he understood, and it was never like when he was guiding me and giving me advice, and he never told me what to do. He just gave me advice and was like, look, this is what I'd recommend, but we'd write the pros and cons for every decision we made along the way, and every fight, like, and then the decision when I was like, right, it's time to go pro, and then where we went when we chose the Invicta route. And like, there was so much to it because at the time, like, even like obviously the, let's say, the Cage Legacy route, that was like, I think that was perfect, starting off there and doing what I done there. And like, a lot of people were going straight to Bellator and then just being stuck in the mud there, and then like their careers are kind of being put on hold because there's only 2 shows a year. And like, I knew I didn't want to do that route. And then like, I obviously went the Invicta, and that was hard as well because at the time there was like KSW, there was the PFL, there was who else, that French show,
Aries, yeah.
I can't remember. There was like 5 or 6 contracts that I was offered, and it was stressful because I was like, oh my, like, it was great because I had options, but it was also like, I don't want to be stuck in a contract and then like left somewhere for a long period of time, because I knew deep down that I was going to end up in the UFC, and I knew that it was going to happen fast because I wanted momentum, and I wanted to have a contract with someone that I was allowed to fight elsewhere. Like, I fought with Invicta and went back and had a local show again, and then went back to Invicta, and I knew I wanted to have that flexibility because I wanted to be active, because I wanted to get to the UFC. I knew time was on. Like, I'm 31 now, but like, the years go fast, and I was aware of that because like, from when I was amateur to pro, like, that felt like a day, and it was a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? So I'm aware that the time goes fast in martial arts and in sports in general. So I wanted to have that flexibility to be able to be active and pursue what I wanted to pursue. And he's guided me the whole way and supported me the whole way, not just in MMA, but as a friend as well. And I think that that's so special because you don't really get that often, and you don't hear of it a lot either. I think like there's a few people that like kind of stick with their gyms and the smaller gyms, and they might not have like 1,000,001 athletes that are like a high level, but they have their solid team and they bring in different training partners, and you're solid. Do you know what I mean? I know that like my team has my back no matter what, and there's not 10 other people or 15 other people there doing the same thing for, like, we have a close little clique, and it's something very special, and it's something I'm so grateful for, because I don't believe that I'd be where I am now without that.
I suppose the one issue with that, I suppose, is maybe training partners. And, you know, even for a lot of women, I suppose, in Ireland or in the UK, it's very, very tough. I know that I speak to them a lot about getting different training partners and getting looks in. Is that something? And even, you know, you spoke about Cage Legacy there. It was even tough for you, I know, at one stage to get fights. And then, obviously, all the options came, and it became a little bit easier. And obviously, when you get to the UFC, it takes care of itself. But is that still an issue for you, getting training partners, getting people? I know you've trained with Meat Molly before, and you bring different people in. But is there anyone that maybe we don't know that you have brought in, that you have gone to train with, that you know, I suppose, took care of that problem?
Yeah, so like my next opponent is Southpaw, so I've been training a lot with Kaya and Gary Rooney, because they're both Southpaw. And then we have Jordan in our gym as well, who's also Southpaw. So like, I've been focusing a lot obviously on the Southpaw because it's different, the distance is different, the stance, the shots, there's a lot of stuff that's different. And then I train with Emer Darcy a good bit, Nadine Ababissa, Amy Scully, like, they're all high level. Like, Amy's world champion, Emer's undefeated in Cage Legacy. Like, there's as much as like, you don't need 1,000,001 training partners. Yeah. And you know what? The most important thing that I think out of all of it is having safe training partners. And like, sometimes I think when it's like maybe someone that is at a very, very high level, you're against each other nearly, and then it's not like, as much as you have to go out and spar and like be competitive and go for it, then there's like, do you actually care about at the end of the training session when your partner's injured or not? Do you know? Because I went through an injury last year and I don't want to have any more injuries for the rest of my fighting career. Thank you. Please put them all to bed. So like, being safe is a really, really, really big thing for me now. And like, there's people that's in my gym and I just say no to, because I'm like, there's no need for me to train with you. And then there's people that I'm like, right, come here, because I know you're safe. So having safe training partners is very important to me. And like, they're all high level. The people that I'm training with at the moment are so high level. And like, Gary Rooney is a perfect body. Like, he's like very similar to the size and shape that the girl is that I'm fighting. Same with Kaya and Jordan. Like, they're all the southpaw, that style. Do you know what I mean? And they mimic her very well for me, like throwing the psychics and stuff and the overhands and the way she spars. So I have good training partners there, and I'm really happy with them.
I want to get to that fight in a second, but I want to ask you about 3 other fights you've had first. First of all, the Dakota Ditcheva fight. So at the moment, I think a lot of people would say that Dakota Ditcheva is like the number 1 pound for a pound female fighter in the world. Maybe, there's argument for other people as well, but she's right up there. Yeah. And I watched that fight not too long ago, and I'll tell you, that was a really competitive fight. There's an argument that you won that fight. I know it was an amateur and it was a few years ago now at this stage, but you must look at that.
And I was 6 weeks pregnant.
I didn't know if that was out there, but just so you were pregnant during the fight. Did you? You obviously didn't know you were pregnant during the fight. No, that's okay.
Afterwards, it made so much sense, because when I was cutting weight, like, we were cutting weight. So Paddy was like, don't cut weight until I get there. And I was like, oh, we'll be grand. So me and Sarah started cutting weight. Sarah had never cut weight with anyone before. What we now know, like, Sarah thought I was having a nap, but I passed out during that weight cut. Woke up 2 hours later, like, what was going on? Paddy then arrived, we were cutting weight. I wasn't sweating. Like, my body was not sweating. Jace wanted the fluids. And we got to the weigh, and we're after doing like the weight cut or whatever. I still had a bit to go, and I think it was like where we were staying was like 45-minute drive. So I drove with the sweatsuit on. I was like, I'll be on weight when I get there. Got there, I was still 0.3 over, and it was for a title. So they were like, look, I was 57 and I had to be 57 or 56.7. But they were like, look, if you don't make the weight, it's not for the belt. And I was like, no, I'm making the weight. I want to fight for the belt. So then we went back to a sauna. Me and Paddy were in a sauna for an hour. He was drenched, and I mean, I was bone dry. Like, there was no sweat coming out of me. It was crazy. Like, I just stopped sweating. So obviously, like, your first trimester in pregnancy is like everything's changing, because your whole body is like growing a child. So my energy was going there, and I was like, just sweat this 0.3. I need to fight for the belt. And then we found out on fight day as well that was 5 rounds, because in Ireland, when you're fighting for a title, it's just 3 rounds. So I found out on the day it was 5 rounds, and after I weighed in, eventually, I think it was like 2:00, and then I just slept. Like, I was like exhausted. I slept. I didn't even refuel. I woke up at 2 a.m. with no food there, like, because I fell asleep during the time that I was supposed to refuel. So I didn't even refuel properly. The whole thing was a fucking disaster. Let's put it that way. And then on fight day, I find out I'm fighting 5 rounds. But yeah, like, it was a competitive fight, but I definitely think there was more in me. Like, looking back at certain parts of the fight, like, I'm just settling because I was zapped. I was growing a human.
It's with all that said, then, I knew some of that, maybe not all of it, but like that makes what happened in that fight even more crazy, considering the level where Dakota is now. That you must look at her and go like people don't really know how good I am, and give me another couple of fights, and go another couple of years. Obviously, you said you're 31, but you're still very young in your career. Only what is 6 or 7 fights in. Like, that, seeing her, does her journey, do you ever look at it? Maybe it's just me from the outside looking through the Sherdog thing every couple of months or whatever, but do you look at her and say, well, I know the level I'm at?
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, she's doing amazing things in PFL. Do you know what I mean? We're obviously 2 different weight categories as well. Like, she's a very tall girl. I've now fight strawweight, but at the time it was flyweight. We were both flyweight. But yeah, no, she's doing really good things. And like, I know I'm at that level, and I feel like I haven't even shown it 100% yet. Like, I think one of my fights in Invicta, maybe my last one with Invicta, I was like a lot more flowy, and you kind of seen a lot more to it. But like, I still feel like I have so much more to go. And I know I'm saying I'm 31, but I still have a good few years left in me. Like, I'm an athlete, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon. I'm going to get in the top 15 and then go for the belts. And that's what I'm there for, do you know what I mean? And I think each fight I'm just going to keep getting better and better. And like, since my last fight, I've been focusing so much on improving and growing and just being the best that I can. So I'm really excited to get in there. I think the matchup that I have is a really good matchup for me. And I'm excited to go out there and put on a show.
100%. And just the Bruno Brazil and Elise Ardlen fights, look, there are two fights that come with such an amount of pressure because your UFC debut is going to bring pressure. And then when you end up losing that, to have the second fight, we know what happens to people who lose two fights in a row these days. Like, it's a tough fight, and to get through that.
You're fighting for your job.
100%. But like, I think what you showed in the third round of the Brazil fight, and like what she's got on to do, again, another fighter who's made you look even better, because, I think she's showed how good she is. But the mental battle, I suppose, in both of those fights, and to come out of the two of those, being coming from a win against Ardelen, that must have been such a relief to get that win, to be like, okay, I can rest here, but not rest, but like, I can improve, I can go forward, and I know the next fight I can actually go out there without the pressure. There's always going to be pressure, but without that pressure, and show how good I am. Can you talk to me about those two fights and the mental battle, I suppose, just to come out and win an end?
Yeah, so I think like with the Bruna fight, there was a lot going on in the background before that contract was actually signed. And I suppose I only really got maybe 6-7 weeks notice. Like, that's like, it obviously is notice. It's not as if it was like a 2 weeks notice thing or whatever, but it was still a lot for my UFC debut. I don't think I actually kind of registered that I was a UFC athlete and like the level that I was at. And I think it was a bit of an outer body experience situation. I didn't know whether I had it or not because Invicta weren't releasing me, and then they did, but that was all like over a period of time. So it was a stressful time, and like you're training for a fight that you don't know if it's really going to happen, and then it is happening, and then it's like, and then you're there, and then Bruce Buffer's in your face, and yeah, like I think as the fight went on, I progressed quite well. I think I was a bit stuck in the mud at the start of it, and then as the rounds got on, I got a little bit better. If I had been switched off from the start, I probably would have won. Like the amount of shots, I think I landed more shots than her if you look at the fight statistics. But yeah, like it was a really hard loss, I'm not gonna lie, because I felt like the whole world was looking at me. I felt like there was this big hype, and people that had never watched me before were watching me, and that was their first time watching me. And if I had went out there and had like an unbelievable fight and fought my best and lost, I obviously still would have been devastated, but it was because I knew I had so much more that I was like so frustrated at myself. But then I obviously went, like they gave me a bit of time before they gave me another fight, and then I was due to fight in March last year, and I had to get surgery on my knee. My knee snapped and tore and flipped, and they had to remove the meniscus. And then for the Alice fight, like I went to the PI afterwards and I got tested, and they said that my right leg was 40% weaker than my left, and I knew deep down it wasn't fully recovered. So like I've been working really closely with them since that fight and getting my strength back 100%, and they like done all the testing over me, like when I was over in Vegas, and the feedback that they gave me, and I talked to them on WhatsApp all the time, from the sports psychologist to the PT guys to the strength conditioning guys and my cardio and everything. So I've been working really closely with them, and like I feel it. Like I got retested then, like I think it was maybe 10 weeks after the strength program with them, and like it was a tedious time because I was like lifting weights every single day, 2 hours every day, and it was tough, but we got through it. And then like my legs are full strength now, so going into this fight I have a lot more confidence. I had a lot on in the background of the Alice fight last year in my personal life, and then obviously the injury wasn't fully recovered from my surgery, so like there was things that like I couldn't really do what I wanted to do, I suppose. My movement was affected because the strength and stability wasn't there. So there was a lot affected in that last fight, internally and externally. But I managed to get the win, and that's why I kept saying whatever it takes, whatever it takes. That was the motto for the camp, because I was like, I couldn't pull out of another fight, and I knew I had to go out there and get the win. And like Alice only ended up being the opponent 2 weeks out, so I obviously had a different game plan for a different opponent, and then she pulled out, and then I had Alice, and a lot changed in the 2 weeks, and obviously she had only had 2 weeks notice as well. It was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah, I done what I had to do to get the win, and it was a nice win. It was like I had my dad in my corner as well, so that was really special, and my first UFC win. So onwards and upwards from here. Clearer mind, clearer body, like less going on. So yeah, this fight and the next couple of fights after that should be exciting.
So let's talk about Puja for a second. When I went to watch her this morning, I was like, wait, this is like a carbon copy of Shauna here. Just very similar style. And she's like, what? Looking at you in the mirror because she's a southpaw and obviously you're an orthodox fighter. When you got the name and you went and watched her, you must have thought like, wait, what's going on here? Who's making this? Are you delighted with this matchup? Are you because it's very different because like your style isn't normal, I suppose. You have a brilliant style, her style is very nice as well, but you wouldn't be coming up against that all the time. What's it like to prepare for a person who's similar enough to you, obviously a southpaw, but the style I suppose is something you would have been used to from years ago, but maybe not now.
Yeah, so like side kicks in southpaw, so everyone in kickboxing is southpaw. It's like lefty righty we would call it. We never call it the southpaw orthodox, but everybody was a righty and a lead leg kicker in kickboxing. So that's something that I've dealt with my whole entire life, and I'm quite comfortable with. Like a side kicker from the opposite stance is probably harder because you kind of clash, whereas the open stance works well in my favor. She's shorter as well. Like she's strong, she's tough, she has durability, she's a good opponent, but like I'm really happy with the matchup. I think it suits me. I think like my grappling is definitely a lot stronger than hers. The striking, her striking is same but different. She's a lot of overhand kind of, and she's more a defensive fighter, whereas I'd be more the aggressive fighter. But yeah, it's funny the matchup. But it's good. I'm happy with.
What do you like? People there's a lot of people talk recently about like MVP versus Wonderboy or a fight like that, and they're like, no, don't make it. It'll be boring. They'll just kind of touch each other from the outside with kind of kicks to the outside of the leg and run around. What do you say to that in terms of that sort of matchup? Maybe this is a little bit different, but can you see that? And how is this fight not going to be that? I suppose.
Well, I think they're very, very similar. Like they're like very same. I feel like me and Puja are same but different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like we both obviously have our sidekicks, and I do think our sidekick has worked very effective in a lot of our fights. I think her movement is different than mine. I think the way she throws shots and where she leaves her head and body and stuff is different than mine. I think I'm obviously taller as well. I think what is she 5 foot nothing and I'm 5'5", so there'd be a bit of a reach advantage there. So I like with MVP and Wonderboy, I think they're probably identical head to toe. Or they reach height, their whole style is very, very similar. I do think obviously me and Puja are similar, but I don't think we're that identical, and I don't think it's going to be a kickboxing match. I don't think it's going to be a sidekick match either, because I know that that's probably what people will think will happen. But I have a good game plan, and I'm very confident in it.
You spoke a little bit earlier about people maybe who've only seen your UFC fights, but people who've seen the Invicta fights and the fight before have seen a little bit more. And obviously we've seen a lot of grappling, not a lot of grappling, but a fair bit of grappling. And her, what is it, 3 or 4 losses have been by submission as well. You mentioned the grappling already, so I just want to ask you about that again. Do you think that's like a major part of the fight where you can win it? And how funny is that to say as someone who came from the kickboxing and taekwondo world that, oh, I'm the superior grappler here. I'm going to Habib her here, take her down and beat her on the ground.
But you know what? I have to. Paddy O says it to me. He's like, Shauna, you're world champion in the highest level at jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm not just world champion kickboxer. True. I am world champion jiu-jitsu, and I know there's different belts, and it's not a black belt, whatever. But like, I got my purple belt, and 2 weeks later, I went out and won the worlds at purple belt. So I am very confident in my grappling, and as much as my background is kickboxing, I think it's coming up to 7 years. I think in April it'll be 7 years I'm doing MMA. So I'm a mixed martial artist now. Do you know, my background and my history is kickboxing, but I believe I'm a mixed martial artist, and I put a lot of focus into my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu. And my judo, I like to think I'm a judoka, throwing them with my throws. But I put a lot of time and effort into that, so it's not like I'm not just there to strike. I want, like, obviously people prefer striking, and striking is more entertaining for the average Joe that don't understand the details in jiu-jitsu and stuff, and I'm very aware of that, and I know that that's what the UFC want as well. Like, they probably would prefer me to do a 360 knockout kick rather than a submission, but I'm gonna get a finish, and if it means it's a submission, it's a submission.
Are you going, what's it going to be, an armbar? Maybe armbar?
Oh, we all know I love an armbar.
Yeah.
We all know that, but like, even in the first round of that Alice fight, like, looking back on that, like, I was so close. Like, I, instead of bailing on the arm and then like ended up in mount, I could have finished her in the first round, which was frustrating. But look, it is what it is.
My last question was going to be, are you getting a finish here? But you've already answered that, so I won't keep you any longer. Shauna, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to this fight on March 22nd, and best of luck.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Always.